First and foremost, I would like to extend words of gratitude to our friends, to Charles Michel, to Ursula von der Leyen, to Josep Borrell, and to your team, the team of the European Union, for this visit to Ukraine. And the fact that now, almost after a year since the beginning of this full-scale war and invasion, we have conducted a very meaningful summit, Ukraine-EU. It clearly proves that we, the Ukrainians, and all the Europeans are the one that could not be conquered by Russia. We have become stronger over this year. Both the Ukraine and Europe has become stronger, and this is because we are working together for the sake of security and freedom of all the Ukrainians and Europeans. Yesterday's joint session of the Ukrainian government and the College of the European Commission and today's summit has clearly showed that our integration is irreversible and has full support of the Europeans. And this year we could further on accelerate the respective integration processes, and that was one of the matters for our today's meeting. And I'm very grateful to our friends, Mr. Michel and Madame von der Leyen, and to Mr. Morel for their personal leadership, both in supporting Ukraine on its path towards the membership within the European Union and in consolidating the unity among the European countries for the sake of terminating the criminal Russian aggression and protecting of our joint values. It's truly important that in such a responsible time we have people as the heads of the European institutions, and these people are capable of act fast and swift and take ambitious decisions that reinforce all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, first and foremost, we have discussed the security and support of our soldiers. We have discussed some specific further steps together with the European Union for the sake of reinforcing of our common security and bringing closer our joint victory. Russia attempts to change the situation on the front line for its own favor. And in order to prevent this from happening, the key aspect for us is to accelerate the supply of weapons from our partners. Now, these are the following situation. The longer range weapons we have, the more supplies we have for artillery, the faster we will have modern advanced Western tanks on the battlefield of Ukraine, the more capable would be our air defense. Now, the faster we'll have the Russian aggression ended, and the more guarantees there would be for the sake of the level of protection of the European security and defence. And I'm grateful to all those who understand the situation and who helps all of us in Ukraine in different ways. I'm also grateful for the decision of the European Union to allocate a tranche of additional €500 million in the frames of the European Peace Fund. This is very important. And the military mission of the European Union is also very important as it deals with the training of Ukrainian soldiers. And thanks to the cooperation with the member nations of the mission, we will be able to train additional 30,000 of Ukrainian soldiers. I thank for allocating additional €45 million to support the operation of the fund of the mission. And today we have discussed the implementation of my initiative as to the peace formula. And in the joint statement upon the results of this summit, we have mentioned the support to the Ukrainian peace formula by the European Union, as well as the support by the Europe of having this global peace formula summit to discuss its implementation. And this Ukrainian peace formula is the only elaborated plan for the recovery of the Ukrainian European global security that was destroyed by the Russian aggression. We have also discussed the reinforcement of sanctions against Russia, more specifically our expectations out of the 10th sanctions package. We have discussed the sanctions. We've talked about Russian missile program, the extension of the energy sector sanctions to cover the nuclear sphere. It's important to prevent any blurring of sanctions, of those very important sanctions that have already been approved, as well as any reduction of sanctions against individuals, as speculated in some of the EU member nations. We've agreed to consolidate and reinforce our cooperation in order to restore the justice for all those affected by the Russian evil. In the joint statement upon the results of the summit, we have mentioned the need for the establishment of a legal mechanism to bring all those accountable for committing crime of aggression to justice. We insist upon the establishment of the respective tribunal. We have also discussed the use of the frozen Russia assets to fund the reconstruction of Ukraine. We shall reinforce this cooperation in the matter. We've also discussed the further integration of Ukraine towards the European Union. I would like to underline that in spite of the full-scale war, the progress in the implementation of the association agreement is evident, and currently we have fulfilled 72% of our commitments under the agreement, and today we have briefed on the progress with the implementation of 7 recommendations to the European Commission. And for the first time in our bilateral document, in the joint statement, we have mentioned our intentions to start the accession negotiations as soon as possible. We've already started preparing for those negotiations. We're expecting the respective decisions to be made by the European Commission and European Council. The goal is to start negotiations this year. And this is not just a purpose, but a major, overwhelming goal. Now, one of the significant achievements of this summit was the progress in integrating Ukraine to the internal market of the European Union. We have approved the Priority Action Plan for 2023-2024. Its implementation will make Ukraine a de facto member of the European Union at the level of the following sectors: the industry, agriculture, energy, digital services, transport, financial sphere and customs. So as you can see, these 2 Euro integration days in Kyiv gave some very effective results, and more specifically the positive assessment for the fulfillment of the recommendations and further on integration of the Ukrainian sectors to the EU, the allocation of 1 billion to fund the fast recovery and additional funding for to support the security, the decisions on the 10th package of sanctions, then the decision on starting the negotiations on accession as soon as possible, the support of EU to the Ukraine's peace formula, the need to have to organize the global peace formula summit. Once again, I'd like to extend words of gratitude for the leadership, for the support. I'm very grateful to you. Our society is grateful to you. Our strong nation is grateful to you.